And of course, Meghan and Harry, Meghan launched some jam and dog biscuits. I don't know what that was.
Well, yes. They were posting 4 hours before celebrating King Charles' official birthday, which for me seems pretty desperate.
Hello, fellow squaddies. Welcome to Royal Telly, your #1 source for fair and balanced coverage of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Kenneth here. At Royal Telly, we stand strong with the Sussexes, celebrating their outstanding work and supporting them against unjust media attacks and online trolls. Mission is to shed light on the truth, debunking unfounded claims and biased narratives. Today's video, we're going to unpack some recent controversial statements made by critics Lizzy Cundy and Nana Aqua. Dissect their remarks, offering a balanced perspective and setting the record straight. Also, take a moment to appreciate the genuine efforts and positive impact of the Sussexes, often overshadowed by the noise of the tabloid press. We're diving into the controversial statements made by Lizzy Cundy and Nana Aqua about the Sussexes. Lizzy Cundy recently slammed Meghan Markle for supposedly overshadowing other members of the royal family. Let's unpack that.
And of course, Meghan and Harry, Meghan launched some jam and dog biscuits. I don't know what that was.
Well, yes. Let's just say, first of all, the sad thing was, I thought, what will Meghan do? We have Kate there, we've been waiting to see her for months and months, worried about her health. And then Meghan, 4 hours before, trooping off the colour, is launching dog biscuits, which is really something else. Her friend, his name's 𝗕𝗲𝗄𝗬𝗓, who is a polo player, posted about these new dog treats with beige bows, with the Meghan, typography. It was all very Meghan-esque, and as well as her jam, they were posting 4 hours before celebrating King Charles' official birthday, which for me seems pretty desperate.
According to Cundy, Meghan made a desperate decision to launch her American Riviera orchard jam during King Charles's Trooping the Colour celebrations. Cundy argued that this was a calculated move, an attempt to steal the limelight. But let's pause for a moment. Are we really supposed to believe that Meghan, a woman who has consistently championed causes close to her heart, would use jam to overshadow the events of the royal family? That's a narrative that's as thin as the strawberry spread on a well-toasted crumpet. Cundy also expressed concern, stating that the world was eagerly awaiting some royal family members' return after a 7-month hiatus. It's a stretch to claim that Meghan's jam launch was a deliberate attempt to eclipse any royal's return. Moreover, Cundy's assertion that Meghan's timing was desperate and something else is loaded with bias. We need to remember that Meghan is no longer a senior royal. She is a private citizen with the right to conduct her business affairs as she sees fit. What's more, the notion that Meghan's actions are a direct affront to the royal family is reductive. Meghan and Harry have made it clear that they wish to live their lives independently while still honouring their commitment to public service. This doesn't equate to a competition with the royal family. Cundy's critique seems to stem from a place of bias rather than a balanced analysis of the situation. She appears more interested in fostering division than in understanding the complexities of Meghan's position. It's worth noting that Meghan has faced an unprecedented level of scrutiny since marrying into the royal family. Critics like Cundy would do well to remember that their words can perpetuate harmful narratives that only serve to deepen the divide. So, as we can see, Lizzy Cundy's critique is based more on bias than on actual facts. Moving on to Nana Aqua, another critic of the Sussexes. Aqua, like her cohort Cundy, has been relentless in her criticism of Meghan and Harry. She's made numerous statements, often without substantial evidence, painting the Sussexes in a negative light. One of her most notorious claims was that Meghan's decision to launch her own jam was an attempt to overshadow the Duchess of Cambridge's return to public life. Aqua labelled this a calculated move, suggesting a level of malice and manipulation that simply isn't supported by the facts. Let's start by debunking this claim. It's important to understand that the Sussexes have their own lives to live, their own passions to pursue. Meghan's love for food and her desire to share this with the world is well known. Her decision to launch her own jam is a reflection of this passion, not a calculated attempt to overshadow anyone. Aqua, like many critics, seems to be looking for controversy where there is none. It's a classic move, a way to stir up drama and keep the Sussexes under scrutiny. But it's not fair, and it's not reflective of the reality. The Sussexes, like any other couple, have the right to live their lives, to pursue their passions without being accused of ulterior motives. Moreover, Aqua's criticism reeks of bias. The timing of Meghan's jam launch, coinciding with the Duchess of Cambridge's return to public life, is seen as a calculated move. But what if the roles were reversed? Would the Duchess of Cambridge be accused of trying to overshadow Meghan? Unlikely. It's clear that the scrutiny and criticism the Sussexes face is disproportionate and biased. This bias, this unfairness, it's a theme that runs through much of the criticism the Sussexes face. It's not about what they do, but who they are. And it's time we start challenging this bias, start looking at the Sussexes for who they really are, rather than who the critics want them to be. Again, we see a critic swayed more by bias than by the actual actions and intentions of the Sussexes. Now that we've addressed the critics, let's dive deeper into the bias against the Sussexes. It's no secret that the Sussexes have faced a barrage of criticism, much of which is rooted in bias rather than in facts. To understand this bias, one needs to look no further than the media's portrayal of the Duke and Duchess. For instance, the narrative that Meghan Markle is desperate for attention is a common one. Yet, it's a claim that's often made without evidence. It's important to remember that Meghan, as a former actress, is no stranger to the limelight. She's used her platform to champion causes close to her heart, like gender equality and mental health, long before she became a duchess. To label her advocacy work as desperate is both unfair and misleading. Then there's the accusation that the Sussexes are overshadowing other members of the royal family. It's a claim that's often made whenever the Duke and Duchess launch a new initiative or charity. However, this argument fails to acknowledge the fact that the Sussexes have the same right to use their platform for good, just like any other public figure. Furthermore, the timing of their initiatives is often scrutinized. For example, the launch of their jam, American Riviera Orchard, was criticized for coinciding with the Princess of Wales's return to public life and King Charles's trooping the colour celebrations. But let's be real, the Sussexes, like any other public figures, it's also worth noting that these accusations often come from critics who have a history of bias against the Sussexes. Critics like Lizzy Cundy and Nana Aqua are known for their harsh remarks towards the Duke and Duchess, often without substantial evidence to back their claims. As we've seen, there's a clear bias against the Sussexes that isn't based on reality. The truth is, the Sussexes are using their platform to make a positive impact, and any attempts to undermine their efforts are simply unfair and untruthful. Having debunked the critics, let's take a look at the real Sussexes. It's important to remember that the Sussexes are more than just the subjects of tabloid fodder. Behind the headlines and the critiques, they are individuals who have consistently demonstrated a commitment to social change and humanitarian causes. In their roles as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan have used their influence to shine a light on issues often overlooked by the mainstream. They have championed causes such as mental health, gender equality, and environmental conservation, to name just a few. Take, for instance, their initiative 𝗕𝗲𝗄𝗄, a non-profit organisation aimed at driving cultural change through storytelling and community building. Or their multi-year global partnership with Procter & Gamble, focused on gender equality, more inclusive online spaces, and resilience and impact through sport. Even their decision to launch their own line of jam, which has been so harshly criticised, was driven by a desire to promote sustainable farming and support local businesses, a fact often overlooked in the clamour for scandal and controversy. Their commitment to positive change is also evident in their personal lives. They've stepped back from the traditional royal duties, not out of a desire for personal gain, but to protect their mental health and the well-being of their family. They've made it clear that their priority is creating a healthier, kinder world for their children and for all of us. Yet, critics like Lizzy Cundy and Nana Aqua choose to ignore these positive actions, focusing instead on spreading negativity and bias. Their comments are not reflective of the Sussexes' true character or the work they're doing. Instead, they serve to perpetuate harmful stereotypes and unfounded criticisms. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex are working tirelessly for the betterment of society, a fact often overlooked by critics. So, the next time you read a headline or hear a critique about the Sussexes, remember to look beyond the sensationalism to the real people and the real work they're doing, because that's the true story of the Sussexes. In conclusion, the remarks made by Lizzy Cundy and Nana Aqua are biased and unfounded. The entire discourse surrounding Meghan Markle's decision to launch a jam brand during the 𝗕𝗲𝗄𝗧𝗏 celebrations is a clear example of unmerited criticism. Labeling her actions as desperate or attention-seeking is not just unfair, but also devoid of any substantial evidence. It's important to remember that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex are individuals with their own lives and pursuits, separate from the ongoing activities of other members of the royal family. Their actions should not be constantly scrutinized or compared. Instead, they should be evaluated on their own merit. Throughout this video, we've debunked the unfounded remarks of Cundy and Aqua, highlighting the bias and prejudice that often taints media portrayal of the Sussexes. Thank you for joining us on Royal Telly on this Fact Check episode. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more balanced coverage of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.